Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy Monday, September 29th to you and yours. Man, what a crazy freaking weekend. I got to make sure I'm texting the link to my guy, Ian Beckles. But I hope everybody else out there is doing really well. Look at Race Fan Gio. Has he ever been on the show before? He's been, I think he's been boycotting the Recher podcast. I thought Gio was going to be one of the guys that supported me a lot when I left WDAE, and I haven't heard from him at all. But Race Fan Gio reposted the stream, and I hope everybody else out there does too. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I know it was rough for our sports teams. We're going to break it all down today on the program. Wow, just so much to get into. Ian Beckles joins us at 12:30. We're going to talk about the Bucs loss to the Eagles. We're going to talk about all the college football games that went on, the Lightning. A lot of positive from over the weekend until today in the last 5-10 minutes. Now I'm pissed off again. We'll get into that. We'll also get into why the Mets will always be the little brothers, the Ryder Cup embarrassment for Team USA, Manchester United and their embarrassment again, Bad Bunny being selected for the halftime show. It is just wow, a lot to get into on the program today. And I didn't get a chance to go to the Bucs game yesterday because I was coaching out in Plant City. So I watched the game with our good buddy Ian Beckles. Again, he joins us at 12:30 for his weekly hit here on the program. Again, questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. Again, follow me at Recher. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, man. Hit that like button. The more you hit that like button, the better off. And a big thank you to our partners here, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956 for all your residential and commercial needs, and our pals over at EverHealth. Our EverHealth injury report coming up on Thursday at 12:30 with Dr. Rodriguez, and we got plenty to get into there. Very interactive here on the program. If you want to join us, feel free. You can either join via the phone or on your laptop by clicking and joining in on the video side there, www.streamyard.com/XA. For KCB GDP7. Join us anytime you would like. All right, come on in. There's plenty to get into. Bucs and Eagles. I'll take a couple of your questions and comments here before I get into my whole spiel. Happy Monday to all you Jaybirds. Thank you, Benny. You're number one. What the hell happened? We went from top of the hill to right down the shitter in 1 week. All my damn teams lost. DT lost with Liverpool and Florida State and the Bucs. A rough weekend for you, DT. And listen, whatever. Liverpool lost. It ain't as bad as Man U. You guys are still in a good spot, and you still have plenty of games to go. I got a lot of faith that you guys will be well. Bantry here. Connor's Music Company. I may be wrong, but I think being a day early for the weather helped and hurt the Eagles. Ready for it in the first half. Second half, they looked exhausted because of it. I don't know. I don't know if I really attribute any of that to the weather, to be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, the defense couldn't stop anybody. I don't think them going down a day early had anything to do with why they were able to block that punt. We saw it coming. We saw some of the issues with the special teams, and this is the reason why you want to listen to the show. On Friday, what did I tell you? Friday, I thought the special teams was going to be something to keep an eye on. Whoever was going to win the special team battle was going to win this game, and that's exactly what happened. Look at him. He's joining in on the program. Our guy, Race Fan Gio. What's up, buddy?
Hey, can you hear me, brother?
I can. What's going on, pal? Good to see you.
Okay, first of all, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are for real if they can go toe-to-toe with Philly with all their injuries. And if you're a Buccaneers fan, you should be excited about that game yesterday. But the reason I called you, Are the Tampa Bay Rays going to kick the tires on Pete Alonso? And could you see the new Rays owner making an offer to Pete Alonso to come home and play a year in Tampa Bay? What do you think, brother?
I'm going to say no, Gio. I would love it selfishly, but they still have Yandy Diaz there. I don't think they would want to get rid of a guy like that. And of course, if you're going to sign a guy like Pete Alonso, he's going to want more than a 1-year deal. He took a little bit of a truncated deal with the Mets this year, opted out after the deal. And let's not forget, if you're the Rays, are you going to, and Gio, you kind of blacked out there, but I'll answer your question here. Thank you for calling, buddy. I miss you. I hope you and Nick and the entire family are well. But I'll finish answering Gio's question here. Is you have a couple of guys coming up in Xavier Isaac and Trey Morgan that play first base. Now, could you have a guy like Big Boss Seymour play over there at first base? You got Jonathan Aranda as well over there at first base. So as much as I would like that, and I said this a couple of months ago, I think that'd be cool to have Pete Alonso here, but I think Kyle Tucker making that splash to me would show that you're serious. So as much as I would love Pete here, and I'll gladly be wrong, but with that being said, I just think it's one spot where in the next year or two, you're going to get clogged up, and I just don't think Pete makes a lot of sense. Man, look at all these. Let's get to these here. Dolan says F the Eagles. Janet, bummer for the Bucs, but nice second half adjustments. Yes, and that's what happens with the Eagles, man. They get in these modes where they look like world beaters 1 quarter and 1 half, and then the second half, it's like, I don't know what happens to these guys. It's such a rare thing to happen for Super Bowl champions, but it does. Injuries suck, but until the Bucs start the game with the kick-ass, no prisoners attitude, it's going to be an uphill battle. Remember we were discussing about how a couple of years ago they could not score on that first drive. They did much better last year with Liam Cohen at the helm, but this year seems to be rearing its ugly head. Scoring a touchdown on the first drive is huge. Bucs punter sucks. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's the snap. I was listening to Ian talk to Mark Royals yesterday about the snap being off, the punter taking way too long to get rid of that football. There's just a lot to go into it, and something that this team really needs to fix. And, watching the Cowboys game last night with the Packers and the 40-40 tie, I still think it's so stupid that the NFL is the only one of the 4 major sports that you can end in a tie. Why? It's so stupid, dumb. Keep going. Find a way. Start the guys at the 20. Do what college does. It doesn't have to take that long. I think it's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I'm looking at Dallas, and as much as they get a lot of love, and of course they're always on the front page of all this stuff, the one thing that Dallas has been able to do the last 20 years to kind of keep them relevant and keep them in these games is their special teams is always freaking good. And John Fossil, who was there for many, many years as the special teams coach, and you're just looking at whoever else they bring in there. I mean, Kevontae Turpin's one of the best return guys in the game. Brandon Aubrey, for my money, is the best field goal kicker in the game. So they just find a way to stay in these games. And when they're close, they oftentimes are successful because of things like that. So special teams, man, is not something you can take lightly. And again, we mentioned this on Friday. Whoever was going to win the special teams battle was probably going to win this game. Big or stupid throw in the end zone on a first down. Why? That cost us the game. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. When you have a gunslinger like Baker, you got to live by the sword and die by the sword sometimes. You love his ability to be able to escape the pocket and make some of these throws on the run. And the throw to Emeka Egbuka, where it looked like 2 guys could have intercepted it. Somehow Emeka comes away with it and scores a touchdown. But that's going to bite you in the ass sometimes. You have to understand that. You got to learn to live with it. Dolan, what's going on, buddy? Hope you are. Dixon is Dixon. He sucks. Jimmy O, great to see you this weekend, buddy. All the missed calls from the refs. Yeah, and that's the thing when it comes to the Eagles. If you've learned that, if you watch that, they're going to try to get away with everything. They're not going to call it on every play, but they're going to try to go. Remember the holding call against the Eagles in the Super Bowl years ago that came back to bite them? There was 4 times yesterday I counted a corner from the Philadelphia Eagles grabbing and tugging on a undershirt or a jersey for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and only got called once. You got to play to the edge. You got to play to the line, and they know how to find that right balance. I don't want to blame this on the referees yesterday because the Buccaneers did not deserve to win that game. I show them a lot of love because they were able to bounce back, but I'm not going to sit here and think that the Buccaneers were the better team and they should have won. Not going to happen. Jameis Mayfield, I wouldn't go that far. David needs 10 points from Jamar to win in fantasy. Louis, I never seen anything like it with special teams to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kick returns, phenomenal. Field goals, phenomenal. But for some reason, we just can't punt. I think it's something that they will fix. Good that it happens now when they're having a record of 3-1. But I want to touch on a couple of things that I don't really hear anybody else talking about. And again, you listen to some of these things, and I don't listen to national because I don't really care. I just listen to 98 Rock post game. I listen to T-Kraz and the WDAE post game, and listen to Baker and Todd. And again, I wasn't there yesterday because I was coaching, and just looking and reading up all the different articles that were written. And a couple of things stand out to me that I don't see people mentioning. And first off, and you guys know I'm a pretty positive guy and pretty optimistic. But I feel like we're heading down a path where the Detroit Lions were last year, where it was just injury after injury after injury after injury. And I know Greg Allman said that Greg Gaines' pec injury doesn't seem to be that serious, but you think about Benjamin Morrison leaving the game yesterday with an injury, Hassan Reddick leaving the game yesterday with an injury, Bucky Irving down on the field for a little bit there. It's just like another name and another name and another name, and another guy goes down. Jamel Dean out with a groin injury. How long is he going to be out? It's just injury after injury after injury after injury. And everybody's talking about this like, oh, we're glad it's happening now and not at the end of the season. That's not the way it goes. It's not like, oh, you're allotted for 35 injuries a year and you're allotted 125 games missed per year. And if you get them in the beginning of the year, it won't happen at the end of the year. That's not the way it goes. That's not the way it works. And I don't necessarily blame anybody. It's not this part is not a blaming aspect of the entire thing. It's not anybody's fault. But it's the nature of the beast. You're watching this and you're watching this game and you're going, another guy. And it wasn't just the Bucs. You see Lane Johnson go out yesterday and some of the injuries that they had to deal with yesterday. But it's not good. And it doesn't look like it's getting any better. You don't think Baker's compromised with that right arm? I got a bridge to sell you. He does not look right. And trust me, as a guy who's had a biceps injury and a guy that's had to throw after that, when it really affects you is when you don't have your mechanics together. When you're able to step into the pass and you're able to throw it and you're able to use the rest of your body to alleviate some of that tension off the bicep, that's when things are okay. But when you're rolling to your right, rolling to your left, and you're doing a bunch of different things out there where you have to just rely solely on your arm strength because you don't have the rest of your body, you don't have your legs underneath you, that is when it's going to rear its ugly head. And I think we're at that point with Baker Mayfield where I don't need to see him practice much during the week until he's off the injury report with that biceps issue. And that's just him. You're holding your breath when you saw, Bucky Irving yesterday struggle to get up. He's taken some incredibly hard hits, right? You're looking at some of these other guys, again, coming out of the game and this dude and that dude. And it's just, man, when is it going to stop? When are we going to have a game for the Buccaneers where you go in and you come out and everything is fine? Because we haven't seen it yet. And it just keeps getting progressively worse. And eventually, it's going to bite you in the ass. They found a way the first 3 games. They weren't able to do it in game 4 against the Eagles. And you got a tough matchup. You got to travel cross country to Seattle. The Seahawks playing solid football over there for Coach McDonald. Man, this team really needs to get healthy. And again, I don't know if there's really anything you can do because a lot of that really has to do with luck. I don't think it's a lack of preparation. I don't think it's a lack of hydration, but it is what it is. It's a reality of the situation. Where you start looking at these injury reports and the list gets longer and longer. And we already know who's out for the year. We know who wasn't in the game yesterday. Mike Evans wasn't in there. Christian Izien wasn't in there. We know about Kalijah and Walker and Roberts and Malk and all these guys that are out. This is tough. This is going to be very tough. One of the biggest battles that the Buccaneers have to win through the rest of the regular season. It's not even the division. It's winning the battle against yourselves when it comes to health. You can't really afford to lose anybody else. Whether it's on the defensive line, whether it's in the wide receivers, and you sure as hell can't lose number 6. That's for sure. Another thing. looking at some of the PFF grades yesterday. The lowest rated, the five lowest rated, and I don't always look at PFF and think it's the gospel, the end all be all. But I look at it sometimes when it's kind of glaring. The lowest rated offensive players for the Buccaneers yesterday were, and they're not in any particular order, it was Bredesen. It was Heck number one. And I said no particular order, but it was Heck number one. But then there was also Bredesen. It was Cody Malk. It was Brian Barton. It was Luke Haggard. And it was Cade Otton. 5 lowest guys rated on offense for PFF. Bucky was number 1. Tristan Wirfs was number 2. But you had 3/5 of your offensive line together for the first time this year. And 2/3 of those guys did not play well at all. They got owned by the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. Those guys have to be better. Am I concerned about that? Not as much, but it's something that certainly needs to be pointed out. Here's another thing. The lowest rated player on the Buccaneers yesterday, the lowest on either side of the ball. Think about this. The lowest rated player for the Buccaneers yesterday on either side of the ball was Yaya Diaby, 38.9. Charlie Heck had a 42.3. Hackard, 42.6. Bredesen, 45.8. Barton, 47.7. Otton, 50. Yaya Diaby had a 38.9. I don't see it. I don't see it. Everybody wants to tell me pressure's this, pressure's that. I don't like, dude. Yesterday's the day. All right, fine. Best on best. Go out there and do it. Everybody kept saying best game in the NFL as a last week against the Jets. It's against the Jets. This guy's got 13 sacks in 2+ years. 13. He's got one. He's got 12 tackles this year. He's got 1 sack. Everybody wants to tell me, oh, the pressure's this, the pressure's that. Get bent with the pressures talk. He was invisible. He was getting owned all game long. And when Hassan Reddick goes down again, we're making excuses for guys. Well, if this guy here and he needs help there, greatness shows itself. We haven't seen it with Chris Braswell. Haven't seen it. I mean, everyone's talking about the pressures with Yaya Diaby. I don't understand why people want to make excuses for people because they almost get the job done. Fuck that. Guy like that, great dude. Yeah, he does get his pressures. You got to get to the quarterback. That's what you get paid to do. Nobody's got number of pressures built into their contract as a bonus. Pressure bullshit. Get lost. Get to the quarterback. Bring him down. Enough with that. Vita Vea is doing his job. 2 sacks for him yesterday. My God, man. Great to see Tristan Wirfs back. Great to see Chris Godwin back. But if you think Chris Godwin is 100%, you're sadly mistaken. Everybody thought that Chris Godwin was going to come back, and he played way more than I think a lot of people thought, which was a little surprising to me. But with that being said, if he's going to be out there, he's got to make plays. Too many balls need to be caught. When they touch his hands, they need to be corralled in. He used to be one of the most sure-handed receivers in the National Football League, and I know he's coming back from injury. But all I'm saying is temper your expectations when it comes to Chris Godwin. Temper your expectations. Because it's going to take a while. Because we remember when he came back off the ACL, it took him a while to get his feet underneath him. But when he's back, when he gets close to 100%, boom, go do your thing. Our guy Josh in the house. Yaya needs to hold the edge. Kept jumping inside all game. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that I don't know if it's panic. I don't know if he's trying to do too much. But I haven't seen it. I don't want to hear anything more about pressure. Pressure's pissed me off. Dave Velasquez, I'm not blaming Taba. When Arian stepped away, the first freaking injury was Jensen. Not blaming Abudia. Catastrophic injuries every year, all year since he took the keys. Yeah, I don't know. if that really matters, buddy. I wish there was something to point it to. Hello to the degenerates. Everybody kill that like button right now. Get in on the conversation. Dustin, yeah, man. It's Monday. Still no Vazzy. Should we start being concerned? Monday was the day, right? Monday was the day. And from what this guy, John Cooper, said to us, he was supposed to be out there. Now, I know there's supposed to be another group that's coming out onto the ice here in a little bit. Not yet. So I don't know if there's another group where they're going to go out there for a second portion of the ice. Maybe Vazzy will be out there then. So as of right now, not thrilled at all. Not thrilled. But keep you abreast of that situation as it goes on. They know they don't trust their right side, so maybe they're true. You can't do that, though. If that's the case, Greg, you can't do that. You can't worry about everybody else. You got to take care of your business. That's what Todd Bowles said at halftime to Aaron Andrews. Too many guys trying to do this, and go out there and take care of yourself. Need more offensive linebackers. You got that right. Is Yaya Diaby really Gerald McCoy? We need to hire Scooby-Doo and his crew to put together the clues and solve the mystery. And obviously Gerald on the inside, Yaya on the outside. But listen, Gerald had more sacks and, he would have more sacks per season than Yaya. So what's the point? Not you. I'm just saying it's just crazy to me. I'm not going to put too much stock into this game because I think the Buccaneers, considering the amount of injuries against Super Bowl champs, will see him again. That's kind of just everybody's narrative today. And I'm not talking shit, Louis, but just I don't want to say what everybody else is saying. Oh, well, we'll see him again. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee the Bucs see those guys again. And I love the energy. I love the resilience. I love the way that this team fought to the end. Detroit does that too. Detroit did that all year last year, and then the injury bug caught up to them. They lost at home to the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Oh, we'll see them again. We'll see them. It doesn't matter. You got to go out there and play. You got to go out there and win now. And the injuries aren't going to be well, you know what? We gave it the good old college try. You got long-term and you got high aspirations. You need to be able to be ready to go. They didn't lose that game, in my opinion, because of injuries. The punter is the punter. The crappy setup on the punt block has nothing to do with injuries. Koki, I don't care. Get somebody else in there. You see other teams. When's the last time the Buccaneers blocked a punt? And maybe recently. I don't necessarily remember right now. But how is it that close? How do you not make the adjustment from the Houston game to now? You had a whole 2 weeks to prepare. You're still dealing with that? What does that have to do with injuries? Get out there and block. No excuses, man. Dolan, this defense is not a finished product. I mean, Dolan, it's as close as a finished product as it's been. Everybody deals with injuries. Joe Burrow's out. Lamar Jackson's out. Malik Neighbors is hurt. You got up and down the line. People are dealing with injuries. Adoree Jackson was out yesterday. Lane Johnson left the game yesterday. It just happens. I don't want to sit here with the Buccaneers now that they lost the game and everybody's sitting there making, excuses. Oh, well, we would have done this, and we could have done this, and we should have done this. F that. Don't be like that. For the first 3 weeks of the season, it was we found a way. That's what good teams do. We find a way. This time, you get yourself into a hole. You get pushed around by the Philadelphia offense. You made adjustments, yes, but you can't fall behind the Super Bowl champs and think you're just going to come back and win. They're not going to lay down. No excuses. Don't blame the refs either. They weren't great. It is what it is. You have to overcome that stuff. Godwin will shine with Evans' return. Could be. Godwin won't be back until after the bye week. The position that we thought were strong now because of injuries and suddenly weakness. Wide receiver corp needs Evans. Louis, we're on to Seattle. You got that right, buddy. Louis, F, that is right. We got to stop making excuses for some of these guys, start holding them accountable. Sometimes I think we're too nice with these guys. Are we all happy here with offensive play calling? David, thank you for bringing that up. The end around, or was it the jet sweep? I forgot what it was exactly, to Emeka Egbuka was one of the worst play calls of the day. It is a growing offense. It is a learning process for a guy like Josh Grizzard, but you are going to be found out in games like yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. And there were a couple of play calls. It was just head scratching. And when you know that 2/5 of your offensive line are as bad as it is there on the right side, man, I just didn't think the play calling helped them out very much. And what Philly was able to do, especially late in the game, like we're on that third down, or that was whatever that down was, where they had to use that first timeout, that sack in the middle of the field, where the Philly was just running those stunts. And I don't know if you can necessarily blame that on the offensive line, that aspect of it. And watching the game with Tony Mayberry and Ian, I say you can't blame that on the offensive line there. Can't blame it on them. Baker's got to get rid of the football, or the play that they put into place. You can't be back there forever. One of the other plays where everybody was going to the left, Baker's rolling to the right, like that doesn't make much sense. I thought Josh Grizzard, one of the weaker games that he's had so far as the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just like USF, no moral victories. Louis with me. I don't give a crap about pressure, care about sex. What I'm saying is there's positions to address in the offseason. It is too early about that. David, we are beating Bucky up. Rashad needs more screams, needs to be on the field more. Guys are getting lit up. Why haven't we seen Sean Tucker? I don't understand why we haven't seen Sean Tucker. There was a lot of Bucky Irving again yesterday. Why? Why are we using Bucky like that so much? It's just, you got to be able to spread this stuff out. Bucky, he takes a licking, man. He takes a licking. And my goodness, you need that guy for the whole season. The fact that he's taking all these big time hits, like, you're not going to last. Middle school level special teams through 4 games. Glad to see Chase get his rhythm back, though. I love this team, but injuries are starting to make me adjust what I think the ceiling is. Play calling started slow, got good with 5 minutes left. The Bucs went to the eat the clock offense, and the Bucs screwed the pooch. Needed a fast defensive stop and a field goal. I was told that Sean Tucker is not picking up what Grizzard is coaching. It's tough to tell that from where we're at right now. Sean Tucker's a big part of the return game, but I don't think he has really given you much in the return game outside of that one return a couple of weeks ago. Cam Johnson was fantastic. That's what good teams do, though. Good teams have other areas, whether it's offense, whether it's defense, whether it's special teams, kind of like lift everybody up. And it may not be for the whole game, but it may just be a play here and a play there. And Cam Johnson did a really good job yesterday. Chase McLaughlin, unbelievable. Longest field goal outdoors in history, 65 yards. Then he nailed what, a 57, 58 yard or two? I mean, Chase is back, which is a great thing to see. Really is. But enough of this talk of, oh, well, we could have did this, or we woulda, or we shoulda, or if this, and maybe we'll see those guys down the road again. It's like, I don't want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear any of that. You start the game like you did yesterday, it's going to come back to bite you eventually. You've been able to come back and win those first 3 games because of the competition, because it's the Atlanta Falcons, because it's the Houston Texans, because it's the New York Jets. You can't do that against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody says, oh, you just got to play four quarters of football. Just play full 4 quarters in all 3 phases. You know how hard that is? You know how hard it is to be able to have all 3 facets of your game firing on all cylinders for 4 quarters? It's damn near impossible. It really is, because you're going to have somebody slip up. You're going to have your run defense maybe not show up for a first half. You're not going to have your passing game working offensively for a quarter or 2. It kind of thing happens. But when one side is slacking, the other side needs to pick it up. Look at Philly. Offensively, I mean, they're up 24-3. I know one of the touchdowns came on the pump block in return for a touchdown, but they got whatever they wanted in the first half. The second half, impossible for them to move the football. They struggled big time, whether it was Jalen, whether it was Saquon Barkley, I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I mean, the Buccaneers, adjustments at halftime, whatever they did, much better in the second half. So it even happens with the Eagles. But their special teams came into play. They got the stops when they needed to. They were opportunistic. Complementary football doesn't mean every single phase of the game plays strong for 4 quarters. It means when you make a play, regardless of where it is in the context of the game, you have players that step up and do it. Unfortunately for the Buccaneers, not enough. Not enough. The battle in the trenches, won by Philly. Looking at the 4 lowest rated players on the Buccaneers, according to PFF yesterday, all of the offensive linemen outside of Tristan Wirfs. Not good at all. All right, it's Monday at 12:30, so we're going to continue the Buccaneers conversation with our guy. He led the 1994 Buccaneers in fumble recoveries, the one and only Ian Beckles. What's going on, my brethren?
There hasn't been anybody since me to recover fumbles like me, dog. I was good at it.
Yeah, you were. What do you make of that? We'll start off there. The offensive line. Tristan Wirfs was the second highest rated player according to PFF behind Bucky Irving, but the lowest four were Heck, Haggard, Bredesen, and Graham Barton. Is that what you saw in the game yesterday?
It's hard to evaluate the offensive line play watching it on TV. You'd have to sit there and watch all 22. But I'm going to say this. I think most teams that play against the Eagles, their offensive line doesn't grade out well. They just don't.
Right.
Okay, because I sat down and we watched it with Tony Mayberry, and the Eagles ran a couple stunts with their players, and I know what type of players they have, and I watched the stunts, and I said to Tony, "How you gonna pick that up?" And he just shrugged his shoulders. When you have 340-pound guys moving that quick, getting up the field, so you want me to set on this guy, turn on this? It's just too much things to do. So the long and short of it is, when you got three guys in the middle rushing like that, quarterback's got to get rid of the ball, okay? Because whatever the play call is, it better not be the quarterback holding the ball, because all offensive lines are gonna collapse. I'm telling you, with that caliber of football player running those type of stunts, it was a long day for the offensive line, and I think they all fought. And to be put in a situation when you almost have to pass, that's the hardest situation. And I thought the pass protection wasn't that bad, considering.
Is yesterday an example of Josh Grizzard kind of learning on the job and kind of a little bit of an unfair test for him in game 4 of his offensive coordinator position going up against the Eagles?
Listen, when Andy Reid is minus players, he's not that great either. He's just not. You got to get your people. You don't have Mike Evans. You're down 2 linemen. Your tight end's not really doing a whole lot. What play calls you going to run? Igbuka was brought in here to be the number 3 guy. What number is he? He's number 1. So to me, what's going to happen when Mike Evans comes back, when Chris Godwin in 4 weeks becomes more of a Chris Godwin? Okay, then Igbuka could be number 1, 2, or 3. I think if the Bucs just figure out ways to hold on while they're getting all these pieces back, I think they're going to be fine. But right now, they're not consistent offensively at all.
Do the injuries worry you at all? Because they worry me. I mean, I come away from the game yesterday, and I know it's positivity. And when you're looking at the season as a whole, it's hard to think that you're not happy with 3-1. But I opened the show today saying injuries aren't. There's not a quota for injuries, right? It's not, hey, you get 20 injuries per season, and if you get 18 in the first 3 weeks, you're only going to get 2 for the rest of the way. Like, that's just not the way injuries work. We saw last year with the Detroit Lions where it was like injury after injury. They lose Hutchinson. They lose this guy and that guy and that guy. Do the injuries concern you at all just because there's such a large number of them to a bunch of key players? And we're not even talking about the guys that are out for the year. Like Jamel Dean left yesterday. Stinger for Hassan Reddick. Bucky took a couple of beatings. I want to ask you more about Bucky in a second, but that's got to be something to keep an eye on, no?
Well, the thing is when you ask a coach a question, hey, coach, what are you going to do about all these injuries? What's he going to say?
There's nothing you can do. That's what I'm saying. You can't blame anybody, but it's something you got to be aware of.
Now, what the coach is going to say is next man up. They all say the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, ask me what they're saying behind closed doors. They're concerned like a motherfucker when they got Heck on one side, and I don't know who do that. Trust me on this one, okay? In meetings, they're like, how are we going to do this? What do we have to change? So nobody wants that, okay? So are we better with Jamel Dean? The answer is yes. If Gaines is in there playing, we're better with him. And if you get hurt and we go to the next guy, we're not as good. Period. That's every team, every level. I'm going to talk about high school. I lost my right guard. My offensive line is not nearly as good. That's just the way it goes. I mean, you bring a lesser guy in there, and then all of a sudden, the guy who was the second worst is not, everybody drops, okay? Mm-hmm. And it just becomes a big pile of crap. And we came into this offense this year with no question marks on our offensive line. Maybe Cody Mauch was our only question mark, and then we got a point where Cody Mauch was our strength. So how can you be the same? You can't.
Are the Buccaneers relying on Bucky Irving a little bit too much here?
Yes. And I'm not saying relying. I'm going to say you got to take care of people on purpose. You have to take care of people on purpose because the Lions are great, okay? Lions have 2 running backs. There's no reason why, Rashad shouldn't be getting more totes because he can play. And you have to, what you got to do is almost save the athlete from himself. Because Bucky's not going to come out. He's a competitor. But he's little, man. When you're getting your head bouncing off and I said yesterday, good thing you're not playing on turf because he might have been in trouble.
He takes a lot of big hits, too, for a little guy, too. It's not one of those things where he avoids contact. And listen, and power to him, right? I mean, more power to him because he's a guy that doesn't go down easy. He's a guy that fights for every freaking yard. We love that. But like you just said, you got to save a guy from himself by sometimes giving him a little bit of a blow. Get Rashad out there. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of Sean Tucker. I'm not saying Sean Tucker 8 carries, but you got 3 guys. He won an NFC Offensive Player of the Week last year. That guy can't get 2 or 3 carries during the game to take some of the heat off of Rashad, take some of the heat off of Bucky Irving. I think it's something the Buccaneers really need to look into as we go forward.
Yeah, and once again, it's not that day and age anymore, okay? There's very few running backs that carry most of the burden in a game. There's very few. And even you see Derrick Henry getting spelled a lot. Like, Derrick Henry got spelled more than Bucky Irving, and he's built like a brick shithouse, and Bucky Irvin's this little bitty dude. And you can be okay now, but it's week 4, okay? When, he's still very, very young, and by week 10, this is Bucky Irvin's rookie year as a starter, okay? So when he gets to week 12, he's going to be in a parts unknown. He's going to
be feeling it, right? He's going to be
feeling it. Like my rookie year, about week 12, I'm looking around. I'm like, they want us to play 4 more games? Like, my body's through. And mentally, you're done. So it's going to be a challenge for Bucky. And they got to take good care of this kid because without him, I don't think he's a big difference in our offense right now.
He's such a fantastic player and love the effort that he shows out there. I got to ask you about Yaya Diaby because out of all of the players in the game yesterday, offensively and defensively, he was the lowest graded player in the game. And we watched it. We're watching Lane Johnson. We're watching Jordan Mailata and what they were able to do in the game. And everybody keeps saying, wow, well, Yaya had his best game last weekend against the Jets where he had 1 sack. He does all these great things with pressures, but Ian, I mean, again, I feel like we're having the Gerald McCoy conversation about Yaya Diaby. Well, when Hassan Reddick's here, he should be a 10 to 12 to 15 sack guy. I don't want to hear about the almost and you got to be able to get to the quarterback. And if you want to, he says he considers himself an elite pass rusher. Fine. You go up against the tough Eagles offensive line. That's one thing, Beck. But if you're the lowest rated player out of everybody on the Buccaneers yesterday, I mean, that's not elite. I don't know what it is, but it sure as hell ain't elite.
Well, I agree. Once again, when you play against those 2 tackles, I just don't know if a lot of people grade out high. I mean, Yaya can say what he thinks he is. That's not what he is, though. He's not an elite pass rusher. Well, you can't just say you're something. Okay, well, if you say you're an elite pass rusher, show me your stats. That's the first thing they're going to do. And your stats aren't one of an elite pass rusher. So, listen, I think he had an off game, clearly, because he didn't look right, okay? But I think a lot of that to do with the people he was playing against. And Yaya's not that guy yet. He's still a young football player. He's still up and down. And I just don't – it's never effort with Yaya.
But what is he going to be?
Sometimes it just seems like recognition.
What is he going to be, Beck? Because he played 17 games in year 1, 17 games in year 2. This guy's averaging less than 5 sacks a year as an outside linebacker.
Yes.
Like, I mean, Gerald McCoy had more sacks than he did, and per year that Vita Vea had 2 sacks yesterday. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like everything is pressures, everything is excuses, and it's weird how it's a results-oriented business, but because a guy tries hard and because he almost gets there, he gets. It's almost like he gets, not just saying just from you, but it's like this guy gets a pass. Like you got to go out there and perform. Like this is, if Ibuka goes out there and he's a shell of he's a rookie. He's got how many touchdowns already? Like you got to go out there. If you get paid or you get drafted to do a certain thing, if you don't do it, you're going to be an almost guy, or he could be this, and it's a caveat thing. I don't get it with Yaya Diaby and Why? Because he tries hard and he almost gets there. He gets a pass. I want to see sacks. If not, you're just another. You're a jag. You're just another guy.
Well, I didn't use it as an excuse. I just basically was saying that's what he is, okay?
Right.
Because you're not an elite pass rusher, because when you put the film on, you don't look like an elite pass rusher. Effort is not a problem, but I think we have to understand this. This is what he is, okay? JTS, that's what he was.
Right.
Gerald McCoy, that he didn't change. Gerald McCoy didn't change. JTS didn't change. Yaya Diaby's not going to change. He's not going to be a 16-sack guy, Jay. He's going to be an effort guy that gets a bunch of pressures. There's a market for that, okay?
Can you win, though? Can you win with a guy like that?
Yeah, sure. If you got some other dudes, yeah.
But we don't. Who was the other dudes?
I agree, but you just like back in the day, I think you need a Will Golston. I think you need a Yaya Diaby. I think you need some grimy. You can't have everybody getting sacks all the time.
But Beck, he's your starting outside linebacker.
That's fine.
It's one thing. Like if you want an effort guy and almost guy, we got Anthony Nelson. He's the fourth stringer. If your starting outside linebacker is not getting sacks, then how can you consistently think you're going to get there and get home with 4? And people say, well, Hassan Reddick, he's going to be the world of difference for Yaya, and he hasn't been. It's the same thing with Yaya Diaby. So, I mean, again, you are what your stats say you are. You are what the back of your football card says you are. And, yeah, I understand you need guys that are going to give effort, but Will Golston was never a guy that we were banking on to have sacks. Nobody said Will Golston was going to be a 10-sack guy. Correct. Will Golston never told me when he was wearing his cowboy hat and his cowboy boots. He never said, Jay, I'm an elite pass rusher, but Yaya Diaby has.
Yeah, but he said it, but nobody else has said it. I mean,
That's true.
About that. I have no problem with him thinking that, but I don't hear nobody out and all experts saying, yeah, Diaby's a great pass rusher. I mean, once again, I think we're expecting him to be something that he just doesn't have the ability to be, and I just don't see people go 4, 5, 6, 15. It just doesn't happen that often. It usually goes 5, 8. 15, 20, right. And then it starts to come down. I mean, he's just doing this, you know what I mean? And as far as the Buccaneers it's been a long time since the Buccaneers have been a 4-down lineman rush team, okay? They did it in the Super Bowl year, but they haven't really done it a lot since way back in the SAP years, okay? The Buccaneers get sacks from blitzing, and that's really what Todd Bowles has been about. And, I know a lot of people are not about Todd Bowles. Boy, you talk about adjustments in the second half. That word adjustment gets thrown around a lot, okay? But I'm going to tell you what, nobody really makes adjustments, okay, because you're going with a game plan. It's just teaching, because they're not changing anything. It's just, here's what we're doing wrong. Stop doing this and we'll start to win. So you got to have the right players to make adjustments, and I think the Buccaneers defensively have the right players.
Your thoughts on just the team as a whole now through 4 games? It's 3-1. I mean, how do you feel as far as your comfort level going into kind of this next quarter of the season?
I don't do comfort in the NFL. No, for real, Jay. I mean, who they play next week?
Seattle in Seattle. You ever play there?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think I ever won there, but I played a lot of places. Listen, tough place to play, tough football team, always hard to beat. Here's how the NFL goes. You're 3-0, you blink, and you're 3-2. Mm-hmm. And now you're scraping and clawing. And now you're thinking, if we don't win this one, we're in trouble. So there's no time to exhale in the NFL, man. And they talk about being comfortable. No, because if I say, what could we hang our hat on right now, there's not enough things. And there's too many things that we're doing. You can't keep starting slow and think you're going to be a good football team. It's not going to happen, okay? And if you go on the road and start slow and give up a touchdown on special teams again, you're just not going to win. So they got to figure some of these things out real quick. So I don't do confident. They got to improve in a lot of different places, and they got to get some players back as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What's the biggest surprise to you so far in the NFL? Is it the Ravens 1-3 after 4 games?
No.
What is it?
It's the Colts.
Even though they lost yesterday.
Yeah, but they didn't lose bad. I mean, they fought all the way to the end. The Colts have fought every game and looked good. And to lose to the Rams. The Rams might be the best football team in the NFL at the moment. And for for Daniel Jones to be sitting there all swole up, and it's not a personal knock on you. I know you're a Giants fan, but if you'd have told me that Daniel Jones would be looking like he is at this moment, and I'm not saying he's Joe Montana, but I think this is a good indication of first and foremost coaching and situations, because we know that Daniel Jones will make bad decisions, and if you put him in the wrong situation often, and the Colts obviously aren't doing that.
What about that Ravens team dealing with Lamar Jackson with the injury now? They're 1-3. It seemed like Kansas City really kind of emerged and let everybody know they ain't going anywhere. I mean, Baltimore, and as much as we talk about how great they are and Lamar Jackson, all these things, I mean, they haven't even made it to a Super Bowl back during the Lamar Jackson tenure. So I don't know. It's just, it's tough to ask the question, to answer the question, like, will they ever get over the hump? Because they still have many years left, but I don't know if anybody saw the Ravens 1-3 after 4 games.
No, absolutely not. And listen, the Ravens are a team, and my thing is, I watch Lamar and I see what he's doing, and I still hear detractors. I think it's funny, okay? Because I think he's one of the biggest weapons I've ever seen in any league. Okay, he's that guy. Like, he does stuff, you're like, Jesus Christ. Like, not many guys will do that to you. You know what I'm saying? But this Ravens team, when it's all said and done, they say Lamar never goes to a Super Bowl, okay? It doesn't mean he wasn't a great football player. I just want everybody, because you know what? If you, so at the end of it, they're going to say, well, you didn't go to the Super Bowl. Who did you play against? Patrick Mahomes every year, and Josh Allen every year. And you're like, wow, whoa. Okay, so there were some pretty damn good teams and pretty damn good players and pretty damn good organizations that were going head-to-head against Michael Jordan for many, many years. You can't tell me they weren't good. They just didn't get it done. So you're measured by championships and wins as quarterbacks, but you don't win by yourself, brother. It's way more than that. It's so organizational, and a lot of organizations, even if the quarterback goes down, they still figure out ways to win. So we'll see how many games they win without Lamar.
What do you think about ties in the NFL?
The only reason why it doesn't bother me is because the average fan just wants more football to be played. And I played an overtime game that ended up in a tie. And if you think I'm playing any more football than that, you're out of your rabbit-ass mind, because it kind of halted my season a lot. Like, that extra quarter made the season rougher. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm just telling everybody, your mind and your body is a funny thing. And when you play Monday night, it messes with your mind. And you play Monday night, then you got to play Sunday. That's a day and a half of rest that you missed. That's a lot. So as long as it doesn't turn into more football, I'm for it. But if anybody wants to see more, I'm okay with the tie at the end. It really doesn't matter. Come on, I don't know why we're making it such a big deal. A tie at the end is gonna be part of the record, and the math will all math out.
Yeah, I just, ties for me are just ugh. It's weird how the NFL is the only one of the 4 major sports that has to deal with ties. Do you think offensive linemen hate it the most?
Offensive linemen hate everything the most.
Right.
Like, people don't, if I go out, you could play a receiver in practice and not put pads on, and nobody would know.
Right.
Okay. Even in a game, receivers sometimes don't get hit at all. Okay. Football is not fun inside. Okay. So it's not fun to pass block a defensive lineman. I'd rather not. Okay. So it's not fun. I don't get to dance. I don't get to run routes and say first down and that kind of stuff. So extra football, it's rough on your body, brother.
Some not great news from about 15 minutes ago from Todd Bowles, Beck. He said they're still processing all of the injuries, and quite a few players are getting MRIs that he can't even name them all. When asked if Bucky Irving is one of the players getting an MRI, he confirmed that Bucky is, in fact, one of them.
Okay, but he's probably getting an MRI on his head, and I don't know why they do that, because he got a concussion, clearly. Clearly he got a concussion.
Jeez, man. I mean.
And the MRI, let me tell you something about MRIs, Jay, okay? When somebody says he's getting an MRI, you know what that means? Absolutely nothing. Because when I got a high ankle sprain, I'm telling you I have a high ankle sprain. What are you going to do with an MRI? It's going to say, because I've had a high ankle sprain, they got an MRI and said it was negative. I go, negative what? I can't walk. I can't walk. So really, you should just ask the player, how do you feel? And they won't tell the press, but they'll tell your teammates and they'll tell, the trainers and stuff like that. But MRIs, to me, if you're getting an MRI, that means you're going to miss a game probably.
Man, the walking wounded are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about your Indiana Hoosiers, man? Big win over Iowa. That ain't easy to go there and win.
No, and listen, it wasn't the offensive juggernaut that you want to see, but anybody that knows anything about college football, and I've been around college football a long time, you got to go back quite a few years to say that you went to Iowa and beat Iowa in Iowa, and that wasn't a good win. Mm-hmm. Iowa is always tough. They're rough and rugged. They're not flashy but they'll punch you in the face, though. That's the thing. And Indiana, I think they can do high flying. They can do grimy. That coach is for real to me. Signetti's for real. Yeah. I mean, we're blessed, and I'm swole, man, because it's been me. I haven't really been able to talk Indiana football since you've known me. So this is good times.
Fernando Mendoza, man. I mean, 6'5", 225. He's got 16 touchdowns and 1 interception on the season.
People are talking about like top 5 picks.
Bro, I saw a mock draft with him number 1 overall. Fernando Mendoza.
What?
Wow.
Really?
He's only a junior, man. Hey, he's got to be in the Heisman conversation. They keep playing well. They keep winning.
Well, I think who they got this week? Oregon?
Ooh, buddy.
I'm not sure. I didn't look, but I think it might be Oregon.
No, it is.
Is it?
That's a game.
In Oregon?
That is a game, boy.
I'll pick the over.
Where is that game? Is it next week?
Yeah, it's probably next week.
Yeah, next. I think Indiana might be off. I don't see him this week.
Okay.
But my God, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. It's 2 weeks, so it's October 11th. It's in Oregon. But number 8 Iowa, number 8 Indiana against number 2 Oregon in 2 weeks.
And Illinois beat USC, and Indiana trounced Illinois. So, things don't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. 2 weeks is going to be a nutty schedule because Alabama plays Missouri, and then Oklahoma, number 5, plays number 9 Texas. Man, some good college football slate. But now that there's the college football playoff and these teams are making it, do you think it's changed how people view college football?
No.
I know some people were concerned because it was like, all right, well, it used to mean if you lost one of these games, you weren't able to battle for a national championship. And we saw Ohio State last year lose, and we saw a team like Notre Dame lose last year, and it didn't really bother them. They were able to kind of go and make a little run.
Well, Jay, every time anything has changed in any sport, people go, batshit crazy, and then they get used to it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's like everything else, brother. We'll get acclimated, and the whole. We were just talking the other day about the NFL going international, and everybody's like, I don't like it. Who cares? They're gonna make umpteens of billions of more dollars, which is the American way. Yep. Are you gonna watch football? Oh, you are. Therefore, it doesn't matter. If we could take Dignitary Cafe and have one in Italy, and you think I'm gonna care about the people in America? I'm not dissing the people in America, but I'm gonna get me some of that Italian money, some of that French money, like an international player.
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, you're watching on TV anyway, right? So
that's what I'm saying. Hey, what could happen? What could the NFL do to make you not watch it? Think about that for a second.
There's literally nothing.
Nothing. Like they could slay babies at center in the midfield, and I'd be like, clean them up.
Yep.
Clean them up. Let's get the kickoff going.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And people think when I'm going to talk about this when we get off about the halftime show with Bad Bunny, it's like, oh man, this is ruining it. And like, yeah, it's not going to matter to you. Still gonna watch the game.
When I went to Colombia and Puerto Rico, you didn't have to ask who was playing. It was Bad. I'm just telling you, there was nobody else, just Bad Bunny the whole time.
That's the way it goes, man. What's going on in there at the Dignitary Cafe, my brother?
Just pimp shit. You know how we do it. Just hanging out with Emma and them. You know what I'm saying?
7-inch. There we go. All day, every day, man. 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. Make sure you go check them out over there. Ian_Beckles on Instagram. Make sure you watch the In the Trenches podcast. Big things down the pike coming for guys. Big things. And then, of course, Wednesday at 3 o'clock, the Beckles and Recher podcast. All right, my brother. I appreciate you. Good seeing you yesterday, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Keep it light, brother.
One love. One and only Ian Beckles. My guy. Always a lot of fun chatting with him there on the program, and always a lot of fun. Here, let me see if there's anything else for this Todd Bowles thing. Hold on. Tabo says he's very concerned about cornerback, where Jamel Dean and Benjamin Morrison both left the game with injuries. He said Bucky Irving is among the players dealing with injuries as well. If you're looking for big changes on Bucs special teams, Bowles said they're still evaluating. All bad. We've got to correct that. We're looking at all avenues to improve our special teams, all inclusive. It's coaching, it's personnel. It's never just one. A punter is the NFL active leader in block punts and a special teams coordinator whose team ranked in the top 5 in block punts at his last stop. It's less surprising that the Bucs have had 2 block punts in 4 games this season. I mean, geez. And Giants, he was with the Giants from 2018 to 2023, and the Giants had 4 block punts. I remember because I've probably seen them all. Rough all the way around, ladies and gentlemen. Not good at all. All right. Before we continue talking about the NFL, let's talk about some good stuff. And our friends at Honest Hammer. The Honest Hammer. TheHonestHammer.com. Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956, baby. Make sure you follow them on all social media platforms. Again, shoot them an email, thehonesthammer@gmail.com, thehonesthammer.com, 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. Get you a discount. Honest Hammer General Contractor Company, CGC 153116. He is the best. I mean, looking at these custom builds, I can't wait to get back out there and be able to see what that new custom house is looking like. Kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, new and commercial construction, interior and structural renovations, they can take care of you. You want to be able to trust people when you're remodeling your home, you're building your home. And Russ and my folks over at Honest Hammer, I have so much faith in them, have so much trust, and I just love the work that they do. They're just great people. Unbelievable, man. Just great people all the way around. And if you are concerned because you've had some bad contractors in the past and you just listen, you're spending a lot of money and you want to change the way, it's pretty much changing one of the biggest things in your entire life. There's nobody better than our friends over at Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC. Again, 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher Podcast, and you can get yourself a nice old discount. EverHealth, our other partners here on the program. If you look at EverHealth now, everhealth.org, schedule an appointment, find a location. They have all the different services on here. You're looking for dental, for pediatrics, family medicine. If you're looking for that health care that you're not getting somewhere else, they can help you out. everhealth.org. We have the EverHealth Injury Report every Thursday with Dr. Rodriguez. So if you need help setting your fantasy football lineups, you want to make sure that you're putting some good money on some of these bets that you're making for sports, Dr. Rodriguez is going to join us here on the program. And you just look at all the different things. If you are looking for a new healthcare provider, if you're looking for a place to take care of your family, this is a fantastic way to go about it. EverHealth, everhealth.org. All the different questions that you may have, schedule an appointment. Give them a shout, 813. Where's the number? I just had it right here. So, 727-824-8181. If you're not feeling well, if you're looking for a new way to take care of you and your family, just go to everhealth.org. A wonderful partner here on the program, started a couple of weeks ago, and I can't say enough nice things about them and everybody, including Dr. Rodriguez, who joins us every Thursday for the EverHealth Injury Reports. All right. Get to this, and get to that, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. Some of these comments. Lamar's going to be in the same category as Dan Marino. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, no doubt. Josh Allen as well. There's a reason why the next man up is the next man. Okay. Injuries are just bad all around the league. Christopher Cole, you're right, buddy. I mean, and where do we go from there, right? I mentioned it before. I mean, you go up and down the lineups and you're seeing Burrow out and Brock Purdy out and Jaden Daniels out and Malik Neighbors out. Man, it's just injury after injury. Your heart, James Conner out for the Cardinals. It's just so tough about football. And it's such a tough thing to be able to have to deal with when you're watching all this stuff. It's a tough putt, man. It really is. Some of the other NFL action from over the weekend. Did you watch the Packers-Cowboys game last night? Listen, Dallas fights, man. They really do. I hate to say it. I really hate to see it, but Dak Prescott, I'm higher on Dak Prescott than a lot of other people. I just think he goes out there and, no CeeDee Lamb yesterday. George Pickens has a big game. Javonte Williams was able to run the ball on the ground. Defensively, coming up with some stops when they need. I know it's weird to say it when it's a 40-40 game. Romeo Doubs with 3 touchdowns yesterday. Micah Parsons, a game-saving tackle. I guess it's a sack, even though it was no yards. But a back-and-forth affair. And in my opinion, the reason why the Cowboys were able to tie that game is because special teams. They're so good with their special teams. And it's something that even though they have a lot of high-profile players and there's a lot of other things that they do or don't do well, that right there is it keeps them in the game. And then if it's a close game, they give themselves a shot. Speaking of giving themselves a shot, the Giants did by starting Jackson Dart at quarterback. He leads them to a 21-18 victory over Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I mean, when you watch that game, you see a guy kind of running around and making plays with his legs, and it looked like a guy that was playing against a defense that never saw any tape on him. He is not going to be able to run out of all of the issues that he had. I mean, the first touchdown run he had was a design run, but what's going to happen is they're going to be able to spy on him eventually. They're going to make him they're going to force him to stay in the pocket and beat him with his arm. But that's the jolt that this team needed, especially with Malik Neighbors going down. You have Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, and some of these other guys have to step up. I mean, defensively, I think 2 of their next 3 games are against the Eagles, or 2 of the next 4 games against the Eagles. They got to win one of those if they think they're going to be any type of factor come playoff time. But I don't know. It's 1-3. They might already be too far down the road there. Pittsburgh with a big win in Ireland, 24-21 over the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers still looks weird as hell in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, doesn't he? But that relationship with DK Metcalf it's just worked out good for them. And he looks way different than he did last year with the New York Jets. David Velasquez, Josh Jacobs got you 30 points last night. That's a big one, buddy. That is a big game. Greg DeCruz, can I get a GJG from you, Jay? I mean, it's in your name, so no, not going to happen. Sorry, buddy. I just need 9 more from Jamar. There we go. How bad are these 2 Monday Night Football games that I'm a football junkie, so I'll watch? Yes, I mean, the 2 games tonight, you're looking at the Jets and Miami, 2 0-3 teams against each other. Dolphins down there in South Florida hosting that one. Cincinnati 2-1. No Joe Burrow going to the Mile High City against the Bo Nix-led Denver Broncos and Sean Payton. 7-15 and 8-15, the staggered start there. It's just strange, those staggered starts. I don't know why one doesn't start at like 6:30 and the other one doesn't start at 8:30 or 9. But it is what it is. I mean, that's what happens. You think sometimes these games are going to be boring. They're not going to be entertaining. And then sometimes these are the best ones. You just don't know. Houston gets their first win with a 26-0 victory over the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward seems to be sick, and we're sick of watching them. So hopefully that they can figure it out there. A big win for the Atlanta Falcons to go to 2-2 on the season over Marcus Mariota and the Commanders. And Michael Penix Jr. just came out of the gates playing really well. Bijan Robinson with the touchdown on the ground. Drake London contributing. Kyle Pitts as well. So that's kind of the recipe for success for Atlanta. 34 points with rumors swirling around that their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, could be a candidate to replace Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. He's there doing his job. So we'll see what happens with Atlanta. I'm sure they're keeping a close eye on the Buccaneers. Looking at the Bucs losing that game, no team was probably happier than the Atlanta Falcons. Staying in the NFC South, Buffalo 31, New Orleans 19. I give the Saints credit, man. They really didn't hang tough in there. They did. It wasn't a blowout. It was 14-10 at the half, 21-16 going into the fourth. They were battling Spencer Rattler, Alvin Kamara. It's just, you're talking about 2 different teams right here. We're talking about Buffalo Bills that are trying to fight for a playoff spot, trying to vie for a Super Bowl trophy. I hope you had Josh Allen and James Cook on your fantasy team. 31-19. Again, the Saints dropped to 0-4. The Bills improved to 4-0. No surprise there. Detroit with a 34-10 victory over Cleveland. That was just a standard Lions butt kicking. How about this butt kicking though too? The New England Patriots now 2-2 on the season after a 42-13 win over the Carolina Panthers. And just when we thought that everything was going in the right direction for Dave Canales and the Panthers, I didn't watch the entire game, but I saw something yesterday where it was 3rd and 10, or was it 3rd and 1? And they ran the ball. Something happened where they ran the football on 3rd and 10 from the New England 43, and then they punted on 4th down. Just weird, man. Weird. I guess he doesn't come from the no risk it, no biscuit tree, but man, going into New England, it's just very, very surprising that Carolina didn't have more of a fight there. Jacksonville was one of the biggest upsets of the day, going cross country, giving the San Francisco 49ers their first loss. Brock Purdy's return to the lineup. Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh talking smack to each other after the game. I love to see that, man. Love the energy between those two guys. But, man, Trevor Lawrence doing his thing. Travis Etienne Jr., he is my guy. I've got him right there in my flex. I hope you have a guy like that there, being able to make some plays there in the backfield. Maybe a little bit of a late bloomer there for Travis. He's looked really good in this Liam Cohen-led offense. And the Jags, watch out, 3-1, first place in the AFC South. You heard Ian Beckles mention it before. Indianapolis Colts, they lose 27-20 to the Los Angeles Rams, but they did not look out of place. Daniel, not Indiana Jones, throws his first 2 interceptions of the year, but Jonathan Taylor really looks to be back to that level of one of the top running backs in the game. He's just tough yards. He just looks like $1 million when he's out there. A.D. Mitchell with the fumble across the goal line was just, it's inexcusable. Stuff like that can't happen. You look at the other side, and Puka Nacua, 13 catches on 15 targets for 170 yards and a touchdown. This offense, you got to watch out for the Rams, 3-1. For my bet, if you give me a chance of who's going to win the NFC West, that's who I would be. That's what I would say. I would give it to the Rams. And everybody else, I get it. I'd go Rams, Seahawks, Niners, Cardinals in that order. Jake Cobian getting into the party late. What is up with the special teams? Look like hot trash. You got that right, buddy. It does not look good. And Todd Bowles was not thrilled today talking about that. Who do I like for the World Series, Jay? We're going to get into that tomorrow. Michael, we'll talk about Stahoviak here in a little bit. And I'm with you, Dolan. I figured New England would be much improved. I just didn't think that they would take the Panthers out to the woodshed and beat them as bad as they did. Lamar Jackson out with a hamstring injury. You know what's funny? However, everybody was looking at Shedeur Sanders and his decision not to get drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, and he didn't want to sit behind Lamar for 10 years. Well, now Lamar's out. Shedeur probably could have made his NFL debut on Sunday. But no, it was Cooper Rush in there, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs remind everybody why they are one of the teams to be reckoned with, and you get back to what you do best, and that's relying on a guy like Patrick Mahomes. 25-37, 4 touchdown passes, only sacked 1 time, and you wonder where you're at with the Baltimore Ravens. 1-3 so far this season. They're going to have to battle to make the playoffs there in the AFC and try to win that division in the AFC North, but just something seems off with John Harbaugh and the crew. We'll see if they'll be able to figure it out. And then a big win for the Chicago Bears on the road in Las Vegas against the Raiders, 25-24 to improve to 2-2 on the season. Caleb Williams turned the football over, only got sacked 1 time. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. Great to see Rome Odunze get on the board too. And shout out to Devin White. He's been playing really well for the Las Vegas Raiders, leads them in tackles again. Don't be surprised if Devin White makes the Pro Bowl this year. I know it's early. I know it's only 4 games, but for a team that is really struggling and the offense is not out there very long, Devin White's going to get a lot of opportunities. So don't be surprised if he is a guy that has over 100 tackles and makes the Pro Bowl this year. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago when it came to Ryan Clark and his terrible commentary as always. Ashton Genty, he said he doesn't know if he has that it factor. And he compared him to Trent Richardson. Well, interesting that you say that, buddy, because Ashton Genty had a 64-yard touchdown run yesterday. He carried the ball 21 times for 138 yards. That looked like a guy that doesn't have the it factor to you? Talking about a team with the Raiders as one of the worst offensive lines. They're 1-3. That's the team right there. Ashton Genty had 3 touchdowns yesterday, including 2 catches for 17 yards, 2 touchdown grabs, 1 on the ground. So that guy, Ashton Genty, that's the guy that doesn't have the it factor. That dude. Again, when we see these former NFL players give their opinion on other players, it just sounds so wrong and sounds so petty, and it just sounds like sour grapes. I don't quite understand how this continues to happen time and time and time again. And people still continue to hire them, and people still bring them in. It's just, I don't watch it at all. I don't know what you guys are like, but I can't watch I don't watch any of the pregame shows. I don't watch any of the postgame shows. Just show me highlights and shut the hell up. I don't really care. There's enough opinions out there. I feel like nobody makes me feel like, wow, I've learned something, which is sad. It's sad. I would love. You think about it like this. One of the guys that I love listening to call games is Mark Schlereth, because he's like, look at this. Look at this. You know, it's kind of like early on when we had Tony Romo and he was like endearing. Watch out for this. Watch out for this. Like, oh, man, that's cool. I like that. Greg Olson brings a little bit of that as well. We may see it in another sport. Hubie Brown, longtime NBA analyst, former coach. Like, that was another guy. He got you to think the game. You felt better and you felt informed when you watched a game or you listened to him speak about the sport. There's just so many guys now. And listen, one of the good ones, one of the great ones is our pal Xavier Scruggs. He's always showing people, hey, well, look at this. This is why his swing's different. That's what we need more of. Instead of we have Drew Brees saying that the Philadelphia Eagle offense is boring. And then Jeff Saturday is saying, oh, well, he's boring. You don't throw the ball very far. And that's all we get. We get these former pro athletes like fighting each other and throwing jabs at each other. And they're not doing it face to face. It's one-on-one show, one on the other show. You get Ryan Clark talking shit to Peter Schrager. You get this guy and that guy. And that's all it turns into. All it is nowadays is just like this stupid ass, hey, let me say the most outrageous thing on the TV so that it goes viral on the internet, so it pisses more people off. It's almost like the old any publicity is good publicity kind of thing. It's like, all right, fine, you get a bunch of clicks, but that's just shallow. It's shallow, and I don't care, and I'm never going to be that guy, ever. I'm going to say what I want to say, but I'm not going to say it just because I'm pulling something out of my ass. It's very strange, man. It's very strange, but just like what we said, Ian and I, it doesn't matter. There's nothing that could happen in the NFL that's going to turn people off, especially with this generation. Just, it's not going to happen. Lamar is my quarterback in fantasy. Should I grab Stafford off waivers? Yes, you should. What's going on with the Lightning injuries? David, just bear with me. That's coming up here in a bit. Canales maybe on the hot seat, embarrassed twice in 4 weeks with an owner as a trigger. I don't think so. I think they know. It's bad. It doesn't look good, but I think he's got some time. Michael will get to that in a second. What's up with all these block kicks? Well, it's just, a lack of preparation, a lack of coaching, and a lack of fundamentals. Do you hit the fantasy panic button on Henry? Adam Cartwright says, no, I wouldn't. 4 games is still too shallow. And again, you want to have great players at the end of the season, no matter what happens. So I wouldn't hit the fantasy panic button on Henry yet. I know there's a lot of other people that are saying, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that. But as Derrick Henry goes, that's how the Ravens are going to go. And right now they're not playing as well, so they know, like, hey, we get him on track, they're going to get back on track. They're going to try to get back to their bread and butter. And I think getting Derrick Henry involved is going to be the thing to do for them, especially if Lamar's out. No doubt about it. Greg DeCruz, bingo, Jay. When I was a kid, the pregame shows were so important because there wasn't social media. Now there's too much. Everyone has a hot take. I can't tell you how infrequently I watch ESPN or any of these other shows. I really don't care. I don't care what any of them have to say. It's not enlightening. It's not, wow, I learned something from that. I'm trying to be informed and educated and entertained. When I use my time to watch TV, I don't get that from anybody. None. It doesn't mean anything to me whatsoever. I don't feel like I'm missing anything at all. Who cares? Watch the game, formulate your own opinions, and then go on here. I'm not influenced by any of those people. And it sucks because they played the NFL, and we should be able to glean something from them. But to me, I'd rather talk to the people that I know in person and get the real, have real conversations about the NFL and any of these other sports instead of watching all this other stuff. It's just, bleh. Jay Recher the GOAT. Karma, appreciate you. Mamola! Sports media has always been a giant adult sandbox. Tension economy is a constant fight, but as shallow as it is, it provides those people value. More people tune in than but John, I'm not disputing that, but I have never really been in the majority. I'm a minority guy. I watch soccer. I get up at 7:30 in the morning to watch soccer. I cover high school baseball, and I do all these things. For me, the attention economy, to me, it just doesn't really matter. And I think that it's an antiquated system on how they judge how many people tune into this stuff because people are lazy. People turn on ESPN in the morning because they want to know if anything happens in the sports world. They want to make sure that they're the first people to accumulate that data. It's not because they're necessarily tuning in because they really want to see what's going on with these people and what they have to say. A lot of people know exactly, if you're a sports fan, you know exactly whether it's 27 or 36 or 7-Eleven or any of these other channels on your cable provider, you know exactly where ESPN, not for Fox Sports 1. If it was that much, if it had that much to do with how much we love sports, how is something as popular as Barstool not popular on TV? It's because people don't know where Fox Sports 1 is. I don't. No idea what number channel it is. Not a clue. But I'm also not putting Fox Sports 1 on and leaving it on all day. I'm putting ESPN on because, well, I don't really need to anymore. But not a lot of people know where to find the news. I know where to find everything. That's why I have Twitter and I have Instagram and I have Facebook and I have the ESPN app. Like, that's where I get all my information. But for many years before all this stuff on, I just put on ESPN, I turn the TV on, and I leave it on all day. So if a breaking news comes out, they'll talk about it on the show. And it'll show up on the ticker at the bottom. And I think that's what the majority of the people do. We're talking about an attention economy. I don't think people tune into those shows in the morning to really hear what these NFL analysts have to say. They just turn it on because that's what they're used to. It's a habit. Those ratings will never go down. Why? What is appointment listening? What's appointment viewing when it comes to ESPN? Nothing. You just turn it on because it's convenient. It's convenience more than anything. So, I'm old as dirt, so I remember the NFL today. There we go. Could we play What's Jay Drinking? Also, no, I'm not drinking. I don't drink, buddy. Barstool audience aren't cord cutters. They've never gotten the cord to begin with. I disagree with your Barstool example. Why? Why do you disagree with my Barstool example? You're not even disagreeing with what I'm saying. You're just giving another example of them being cord cutters or not cord cutters. Both of those things can be true. Just because you have a different aspect or a different viewpoint or a different perspective of that doesn't mean mine is wrong. Because nothing does well on Fox Sports 1. Nothing. So why would it be any different for Barstool? It's not, because people don't know where Fox Sports 1 is. Is your point saying that they aren't cord cutters true? Yes, but there's no reason to disagree with me. They can both be right. Let's see. Almost in the house. There we go. All right. So here's the other thing. The big news last night, Bad Bunny has been selected for the Super Bowl halftime show. And mamma mia, people are going to lose their mind with this one. You thought Kendrick Lamar pissed people off? Just wait until you tune into the halftime show. The score will probably be something like 25-8. And your aunt may ask you what Mr. Bunny was saying because 99% of it will be in Spanish. It might be difficult for a lot of people to understand what's going on. It may offend some. Me, I love Bad Bunny. Dude is in fuego. Do I know what he's saying most of the time? No, but I love the energy. I love the beats. I love the vibe. You know, I was getting down to his special last week, dancing alone in my house. It felt like another night in Miami. He was hilarious on Saturday Night Live a couple of months ago. And you know
he's my guy because he loves WWE and he has crushed it every single time he's been in the ring. A future WWE Hall of Famer, just like my guy, Booker T. If you're thinking the halftime show is just for football fans, you are sadly mistaken. These halftime shows are for the masses, the people that tune in just for this game, and for those who may just tune in to see this performance. To some, it may be controversial. It may drive some to drink a Moscow Mule, perhaps. But from now until the big game and then weeks after, Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl will be all the rage and a top topic of conversation. The NFL will get its desired effect and will no doubt be thinking, we're good. So I know that's a lot of things when you're talking about Bad Bunny and people are saying, how could this happen? It doesn't matter. Didn't matter. Who cares, right? People are going to freak out and they're going to continue talking about this entire thing. The same thing with Kendrick Lamar. People are going to hate it. People aren't going to know any of the songs. And listen, They Not Like Us was one of the most popular songs in 2024, or excuse me, 2025. 2024 going into 2025. And when you look at that situation, people were still talking about it weeks later. They still were like, oh, Kendrick, I hated this, and Serena Williams, and what was the whole point, and the shade that was thrown at Drake. It was the topic of conversation. Again, any publicity is good publicity. The same thing is going to happen here with Bad Bunny. You're going to hear more, and then we get closer, and more people are going to find out about Bad Bunny and about how he's got no songs in English. He's only going to say a few English words. The pageantry is going to be out of this world. Don't be surprised maybe if Drake is involved. We don't know. But this whole Bad Bunny thing, this is just, the NFL is looking at this like, as long as people are talking about it, it's good. They don't care who they are offended by. It just doesn't matter whatsoever. So for Bad Bunny and for all his fans out there, rejoice. For everybody else out there that doesn't like this, then man, that's kind of, you just got to live with it, man. It's not going to get any better. Or for you, I don't know if we're ever going to get a situation where there's an older type of music in there, a genre that is going to appeal to people in their 40s and 50s and 60s. Everybody's looking for that viral moment. Everybody's looking for the next hot thing. Is it going to be Taylor Swift maybe next year? Could it be? Not only does the songs and the performance have to have some type of controversy or appeal, but the selection, I think, as well. It gets people going. It gets people talking. Before, during, and after. I mean, Bad Bunny here. Next year, who the heck else knows? It should be fun. All right. Bad Bunny. They Not Like Us. All right. College football. Florida State. I told you you needed to win this game. Do not take the Virginia Cavaliers lightly on Friday night. Knowing that you have this huge matchup with the Miami Hurricanes looming, you would have had College Game Day there. We're looking at the rekindling of one of the bigger rivalries in college football, and you screw the pooch and lose that. And it wasn't that, listen, I know you took it double overtime. They battled back. They did their thing. But Virginia running the football, just look at how many times they were able to run the football. And listen, to be fair, Florida State ran the football 48 times. 14 of them came from Tommy Castellanos, their quarterback. But they could not. And when I say they, the Florida State Seminoles defensive line had no answers for the Virginia Cavaliers and how they were running the football. Just look at Chandler Morris, that big thumper, 8 carries, 37 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. And he's their quarterback. I mean, they just could not stop him. 26 of 35, 229 yards. He did throw 3 interceptions, but this was the scary thing if you're a Seminoles fan. You win that game against the Alabama Crimson Tide, and everybody's looking at you like, all right, maybe you're the real deal. And I challenged Tommy Castellanos, and I challenged Mike Norvell on Friday right here on the show. If you want to be taken serious, you have to win this game. You have to win this game. It wasn't going to be easy. Smart money was on Virginia. Nothing to lose if you're Virginia. You're 3-1 going into this game. A lot of people thought that kind of was your championship game. And you go out there and you just you kind of lose your season there by losing that game, because it's going to be very tough for them to be able to battle this Miami team who's built the right way in the trenches. And you're looking at 3-2. And Ian said it before, from 3-0 to 3-2 very quickly. And I think that's exactly what the Seminoles are staring at right now, because this isn't the same old Miami team where it's like, oh, you just got a bunch of great players on the outside. No, 7:30. And listen, it's going to be rocking there at Doak. Tallahassee's going to be going crazy. But Miami, I think, is just, they're built for this. They are built for this. And listen, Florida State wants to show me that I'm wrong, and I'm going to tell you where I was wrong in a second, then they got to go out and win this game against Miami. But if they have that same kind of defensive performance they did against Virginia, it's going to be a long night for Noles fans here in the Sunshine State. One area where I guess I was wrong, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. I had a parlay, Indiana winning, Oregon winning, more on that in a second, and Alabama losing to Georgia at home. I thought that was the beginning of the end. That season opening loss to the Florida State Seminoles, Kalen DeBoer, I was like, dude, this is not going to work out well for you. And then you go to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, 3-0, sitting at number 5 in the nation. Stockton at quarterback, Bowens in the backfield. Kirby Smart, all right, man, hey, take care of business. For so many years, you were behind these guys. You finally caught up to them. You're able to show, hey, we're probably the kings of the SEC. And then here comes Ty Simpson. And one of the biggest things I heard all weekend when it came to my football circles are, man, Ty Simpson can spin it. This looks a lot different than the Ty Simpson we saw a couple years ago at Raymond James Stadium against USF. 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for another one. Did you look at that throw to Proctor? What a play call that was. I love the Stones from Alabama. They went out there with nothing to lose. Up 24-14 at the half. They didn't score the rest of the way, and it was just that was a knockdown, drag out. Who wanted it more in the Southeastern Conference? Kudos to Kalen DeBoer and the Crimson Tide. Your eulogy was probably written a little bit too soon by this man right here, so my respect to you guys. And hey, Alabama's right back in there. I mean, that's a huge win. A huge win. And if Florida State can beat Miami, then maybe the Alabama loss in week 1 doesn't look so bad at all. Ole Miss 24, LSU 19. I said this to Brian Kelly. I said it to Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, those are the guys that I was calling out. Kelly and Nussmeier, LSU, Norvell, and Castellanos for Florida State. You want people to take you serious as a top 10 team, as a national championship contender, you got to win these road games in conference. And for Ole Miss and what Trinidad Chambliss was able to do, Lane Kiffin feeling really good about himself after that game. I mean, Ole Miss is now looking around going, all right, well, maybe you guys should be looking at us as the kingpins of the SEC, not Georgia, not Alabama, not LSU. I tip my hat to those guys. Tip my hat to the Rebels. And again, this is the same old song and dance with Brian Kelly, where you have a chance. You have a veteran quarterback. And what do? And you don't show up. You only score 7 points in the first half, 12 in the second. And you want to be considered one of the best coaches and one of the best programs in the country, that they're back to the Nick Saban and Les Miles days. A performance like this is unacceptable. Not good. Not good at all. Final game I want to talk about here, Oregon and Penn State, 30-24 in overtime. Dante Moore doing his thing. Drew Aller, again, he threw for 137 yards. This is what I've come to grow accustomed to a guy like that. I don't know. I don't know why people were looking at Drew Aller and Garrett Nussmeier and saying, oh, wow, okay, they're 2 returners. That means these teams are going to be top 5 in the country. It's like, I don't know. I don't quite know, because Super Bowl cash grab. All right. I'm all saying about Bad Bunny. Doesn't apply to Super Bowl cash grab for Bad Bunny, but people do not get paid for their Super Bowl appearances. David Terry, my Noles shit the bed. We got punched right in the face in the trenches. Screw college game day. Got to beat Miami or we're done. You got that right. Not sure I believe Gunnar Stockton is that guy. Simpson has looked great since FSU. Yeah, you're right, man. You are totally right. Adam brings up a great point. Is Dan Lanning the best coach in college football right now? I would say yes. Because they should have been a top 5 team, I think, going into the season. Dante Moore, 248 yards through the air with 3 touchdowns. He's efficient. It doesn't matter who they have. They just play hard. They play the game the right way. And they weather the storm, right? It's 3-3 at the half. They take the lead. Penn State's able to battle back. But you look at these numbers from James Franklin, again, coming up short time and time again with Penn State against top 5 teams, top 10 teams, top 25 teams, teams at home. Penn State's not out of it by any means because I think Oregon is such a good team, but like eventually you got to win not just one of these games. You have to win like multiple of these games. You got to win 2 a year, 3 a year, 4 a year, 5 a year. You got to really be battling for a national championship because, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The college football playoff being extended, that helps Penn State just as much as anybody else. And you look at Oregon going into the whiteout, and everybody's supposed to be scared of that. Like, I mean, ain't nobody scared of Penn State. Nobody's scared of them. Oregon goes out, they got these big-ass ducks everywhere. They don't even care, man. They battle their ass off, and it doesn't matter who they play. They rise to the challenge. I can't say enough nice things about Dan Lanning and Oregon. I mean, he can stay there as long as humanly possible, but I think he is one of, if not the best in college football right now. And Dan Lanning is the type of guy that I would take a chance on if I was an NFL team. Dan Lanning is a guy that I would take a chance on if I was like, everybody keeps saying like Alex Golesh for Florida. If I'm Florida, I'm going after Dan Lanning. That's the guy I want if I'm the Gators. If you're a Gators fan, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Dan Lanning or would you rather have Alex Golesh? Trust me, I love Alex Golesh. I don't want him to go anywhere. But I want Dan Lanning. You want to talk about an appeal? You want to talk about a guy that can build the brand? Can you imagine Dan Lanning going up with his no-nonsense attitude, going up against Mike Norvell? Who would you take in that neutral field, similar team? Would you want Dan Lanning leading your team or Mike Norvell? Answer me that. Dave Terry. You're one of those guys. I'm on my Beth Jar for Lanning. If the boards, there you go. But again, I wonder if Alabama, if they make that call at some point, are they the type of people to really go into a situation for a non-Alabama guy? I think they kind of go back and maybe bring in one of their own. Ah, man. But I'm looking at a guy like Dan Lanning, and I think it just makes – who would you have? David Terry, if you're watching right now. Big Florida State guy. Even teams. Dan Lanning or Mike Norvell, who does a better job? If I'm a Florida State guy, I'm very worried that Dan Lanning will go to a place like Florida. And they're done with Billy Napier, and we're seeing what happens with the Gators over these next couple of weeks. And obviously the slate next week, when you look at week 6, this one coming up, Florida staring down the hole at 1-4. Texas is 3-1. They go to the Swamp. Arch Manning and the crew. We could be looking at 1-4 with the Gators. Does Billy Napier? Oh, crap. Does Billy Napier survive the season? I don't think he does. Let's look at the schedule for the Gators the rest of the way. They play Texas, then travel to Texas A&M. Lucky you. Home to Mississippi State and Georgia. Go to Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then home to Florida State. They're 1-3. They were able to salvage it last year with some wins. 1-4, 1-5. Let's just give them that one. 2-5, 2-6, 3-6, 3-7, 3-8. I mean, they could be 3-9 this year. They could be 4-8 this year. Even if they're 5-7. This is the Florida Gators. Next Monday or the Monday after next, we will be talking about Billy Napier getting fired. I don't ever want anybody to get fired, but I think his time's done. Billy's done. So whether it's a loss to Texas this Saturday or whether it's a loss next Saturday to Texas A&M, all day, every day, I think it's donezo for Billy. And then start the rumors, whether it's Alex Golesh, whether it's Dan Lanning. There's a change coming in Gainesville before you know it. USF back in action coming up this Friday night at home, taking on Charlotte in the opener of conference play. Can't wait for that one, man. Can't wait to see the Bulls get back out there. 3-1 on the season, 1-3 Charlotte, 7:00 on ESPN2. That should be a good one. Watching that game, Byron Brown and the crew. As much as we love the start of the season for USF, now's the time. I mean, this is the realistic, winning the American Conference. The American Conference is well within your grasp, but it doesn't matter what has happened so far. Like, those teams aren't going to lay down because you beat Florida in Florida, right? You got to go out there and try to win this game. I wasn't worried about losing Golesh, but the volume of big openings is concerning. It's going to have to take the right move for them. And I'm talking about them being Golesh and the family. USF going to run the table in the American, and CAG ain't going anywhere. I mean, we don't know that for sure, Robert. We don't know what happens to Coach Alex Golesh and whether he's going to be with USF. I don't really want to talk about that right now because there's a lot of good vibes going, but after the season's over, it's something that is going to be a hot topic of conversation because there's going to be a lot of job openings, because a lot of guys are going to be moving. So we'll talk about that when the time comes, but don't think that like anything is possible. We see the players, their movement. We see the coaches and their movement. I mean, it's going to be tough for him. I don't think it would be an easy choice because of what he's been able to build so far. But you're looking at new players next year. Byron Brown's going to be moving on probably, right? Byron Brown's another guy that can elevate his stock over the next couple of weeks. USF was kind of the hot topic of conversation through the first couple of weeks of the season because of, their ability to beat Boise State and, coming away with that win in the swamp in Gainesville against the Florida Gators. And then the loss to Miami kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit before bouncing back with a nice victory over South Carolina State, which was a blowout. But now it's all right, time to take care of business. Charlotte is 1-3. No messing around, no letting them hang around. Let's start fast. And then you got a tough, you're going to North Texas. North Texas is 5-0, 1-0 in the American, and they can motor. And that is going to be the first real big matchup in conference that the Bulls are going to see before home to FAU, another tough one at Memphis. I mean, they got some tough road games. So what they're going to have to be able to do is to take their game on the road with them. That's, you want to prove that you're legit. That's the way to go about it. Go out there and win some of these tough games on the road. And then people will say, all right, well, they should be a team that's going to be contending for a conference championship. And you never know, man. You never know. You could be a team that is knocking at the door of the college football playoff. All right. Follow me on all social media platforms. We're going to talk some Lightning hockey here right now. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube, man. Share this on any of your social media platforms, please. Kill that like button, man. Kill that like button as much as you can. Big shout out to our sponsors, our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956, EverHealth as well. The EverHealth Injury Report every Thursday at 12:30. Bada bing, bada boom. Realest guy in the room. All right. So I told you guys early last week, I'm not as concerned I won't be as concerned about Andrei Vasilevsky if he's on the ice Monday, September 29th. And we got word from John Cooper that hold on, guys. Make sure we get everything here. Showing love to our guy, Eric Erlinson, of course. He's going to probably join us. I haven't talked to him yet, but we're going to guilt him into joining us every Wednesday again, just like we're going to do that with Ed and Cena as well. But I said last Monday, we need to see Andrei Vasilevsky on the ice by the 29th if I feel good about them being in the lineup opening night on October 9th. So we heard from John Cooper late last week that, hey, I know you haven't seen Vazzy. He hasn't been out there in a week. He'll be back out there on Monday. So we get the word today from the Iceplex there in Brandon, from Ed and Eric and everybody there, that Andrei Vasilevsky wasn't on the ice with the team. And neither were Victor Hedman, who left the game on Friday night after one period, nor Pontus Holmberg, who is going to be a guy that's going to be counted on in the bottom six. He's going to be a guy that's going to be a penalty killer. Haven't seen him either. So, as optimistic as I was going into the show today, I do have pause because of what we heard. Now, John Cooper did speak, and he said Andrei Vasilevsky skated on his own this morning. Okay. He anticipates Vasilevsky will join the group for practice on Tuesday, but won't play in Orlando. It was a promising day for him. He didn't commit to him playing in any of the 3 remaining preseason games, but did not rule it out. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, is it still a cause for concern? Yes, certainly is. What about Victor Hedman and Pontus Holmberg? Ed Encina lets us know Hedman and Holmberg, who weren't on the ice today, won't play tomorrow and are not threats to be unavailable later in the week, John Cooper said. So, does that make me feel good? No. But they said after the game on Friday night that Victor Hedman, them taking him out of the game, was more of a precaution than anything else. And it's tough to tell because we look at situations when it comes to injuries and you always think the worst, especially when what we're dealing here with the Buccaneers and everybody and their mother seems to be getting an MRI. I wouldn't freak out when it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning and those guys. Because if Vazzy was on the ice in any capacity today, that's always the big thing. The first thing is getting them on the ice when they're not on the ice. It's one thing if the guys, and just stay with me real quick. It's one thing when the guy's on the ice the whole time, and then it's like, that's not a big barrier to break through. And he's on the ice and he just stays there and he's dealing with his injury. And then you just don't know when he's going to come back. One of the biggest hurdles for guys sometimes is actually just getting on the ice. And the fact that Vazzy was on the ice today makes you feel a lot better about him being ready. Again, we're not even in October yet. Season opener October 9th there on that Thursday night at Amalie Arena against the Ottawa Senators. If he's practicing in full tomorrow, he'll be ready for opening night, in my opinion. Victor Hedman, we didn't see anything. We didn't see him take a big hit. We didn't see him stretch. He was out there. He didn't leave the ice early on Friday night. He went off with his team on Friday. He wasn't there Saturday. We didn't see him Friday night, so he left before the media could get back there. But the fact that John Cooper said it was just precautionary Friday night and wasn't a long-term thing, that makes you feel good, but we have to see him over the next couple of days. Because Hetty was on the ice this entire time, if he doesn't return until the end of the week, right, or maybe early next week, I'm okay with that. Because he's been on the ice this entire time, and he was in the game the other night. Vazzy, obviously, a little bit of a different thing because we haven't seen him on the ice in the last, 10 days or so. Now, aside from the injury stuff, what I really like from the Tampa Bay Lightning is I just absolutely love what I've seen so far when it comes to the young guys pushing up through the lineup and putting some of the pressure on these veterans. Had this conversation with Phil Esposito on Friday night. This team needs young players to inject some life, inject some energy, and put some of the heat on some of these bottom six forwards that may not be performing. And you're seeing that with Stahoviak, the German. Unbelievable player, 26 years young, a guy that's been playing pro hockey there in Germany. this is a guy that doesn't look out of place at all, and he makes plays in tight spaces. And for a guy that went from a big sheet of ice to now a smaller sheet of ice here in North America, it doesn't look like he's out of place at all. Dominic James, they just signed a freaking weekend a couple days ago. He's flying around the ice, making some incredible one-on-one moves. I love that. Jack Finley, who's 6'6", he looks like he's finally going to get his chance with his team, playing a physical game, winning a ton of draws. Karen Clemente in the house. Jack Finley makes me feel very good about the prospects of this team in the faceoff dot, because remember, Luke Glendening is gone. And he had to be out there at the end of a lot of games because he was their only really right-handed guy that could take draws last season because Steven Stamkos wasn't on the team anymore. And that's not really Braden Point's strength. Now, if you get into a situation where you have Finley, who is killing penalties, winning draws, now if you pull your goalie, the 6 guys out there are going to be, let's just say Finley's taking the draw on the left side, on the left side, on the right side. To the boards, left to the right, whatever. Finley's out there winning the draw, okay? Finley, Kucherov, Point, Gensel, Hedman, and one of your other guys, whether it's Hagel or Sorelli or Bjorkstrand or anything like it. That makes sense to me. Put that big 6'6" body in front of the net, screen the goalie. He gives you something that they don't have. Now, Nick Paul's going to be out till November. We know that. But talking about this with Eric Erlinson the other night, looking at some of the lines for the Bolts, look at Point, Kucherov, and Gensel, right? Looking at Sorelli, Hagel, and probably Gonsalves. Your third line center could be, let's say, Finley with Geeky and Bjorkstrand. And then your fourth line is going to be Gord, Gergensons, and could be Stahoviak. Could be Dominic James. Could be Holmberg if he gets better. Right? So there's a lot more. It could be Dylan Duke. You're getting a lot more options with the Bolts, which is what they need. Huge reason why Florida was able to be so good and so fresh in the postseason the last couple of years, because they could take literally 3 guys out, 3 guys in. It keeps guys fresh. It keeps guys on their toes. And you can also cycle guys in. The Lightning, I think they just got a little bit complacent with those 12 guys, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. There was no freshness. There wasn't a different look that they could give you. Now, with the way that the roster is constructed, with where they are in accordance to the salary cap that Julian Brisebois was able to finagle, it's going to be different this year. Defensively, and this is, with everybody healthy, Hedman and Moser, McDonough and Chernak, and then that third pair, is it going to be Lilleberg and Crozier? Possibly. What happens to Darren Radish? She scored the other night as well. A guy like Max Groshev, learning how to play defense. This guy loves getting up in the play, but you have Declan Carlisle there. Roman Schmidt is still with the big club. So I feel a lot better about the Lightning than I did just a week ago. And that's not talking anything about the injuries or whatsoever. Just the way that this team is coming together, the way the lineup is being constructed. And then you have to take into account the difference with these other teams in the Atlantic Division. Sasha Barkov, the captain of the Florida Panthers, out for the year. Tearing his I think it was ACL and MCL. Oof. Rough. No bueno. And then also looking at, Matthew Tkachuk being out for a while, Matthew Marner not going to, Mitch Marner, excuse me. Mitch Marner now no longer with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's with the Vegas Golden Knights. What did they really do to kind of make up for that, make up for his scoring? And it was just, obviously it's a different ball game altogether. Who's going to take that next step forward, whether it's the Senators or the Canadians who made the playoffs last year, right? So we have to look at the Atlantic Division as a whole. It's wide open. It is wide open for the Tampa Bay Lightning to come in, and they got to munch points. They got to win early. But go win that division, man. That can bode very well for you as you get closer and closer to the postseason and see if you can make a long run in the playoffs. All right, let's finish it off with what happened over the weekend, the Ryder Cup. I mean, my God, it's crazy. And kudos to the Europeans for coming away with the victory. Rory McIlroy, who, he's not only the best golfer in the world, in my opinion, the best leader. And you can talk about the success that a guy like Scottie Scheffler has had, but he screwed the pooch. He was terrible. Bryson DeChambeau, again, he wasn't great. When you look at what Rory's been able to do, winning the career Grand Slam at the Masters, and predicted that they were going to win 2 years ago here at Bethpage. They rose to the occasion, man. His partnership, whether it's with Shane Lowry or whether it's Tommy Fleetwood, those guys just end up winning and winning and winning again. But if Bryson DeChambeau and Scotty Scheffler are not going to play like two of the best players in the world, and they're going to continuously come up short, it's going to be awfully tough for the U.S. to win. But like I said last week, I don't know if this really affects their legacy as much. When you lose in Ryder Cup, you can just look at it and go, hey, man, team situation. Golf is a more individual sport, obviously on the PGA side. I don't think it affects your legacy as much. Nobody ever really talks about how Tiger did during Ryder Cups. They just care about the majors. That's it. Want to answer this real quick. I'm a big fan of Carlisle Radish. Don't get the coaching staff's love of Lilleberg. He always gets caught way out of position. Listen, the other night, Lilleberg had one of the worst turnovers that you're ever going to see. He literally backhanded the puck right in front of the Lightning net like he was doing it on purpose. It takes a while for guys to get accustomed to the NHL game. I know what they do like about him. They like that he is a guy that is got some speed. He's very physical. But we saw that early on in his career. We haven't seen it as much now. And let's hope with the change in coaching from Jeff Blashill going out to Dan Highnote and kind of the defense maybe changing back to what it looked like in 2020 and 2021, maybe it's different. Maybe you see a better aspect of Lilleberg. But there have been murmurs, and people have talked about, well, when a guy comes up here, his defense regresses a little bit. And when guys are good defensively, it's more because of their individual prowess rather than the system that they're playing in. Look no further than a guy like Ryan McDonough and Eric Chernak. But when Mikhail Sergachev was asked about the defensive structure and he had that negative thing to say about Jeff Blashill, I mean, it's hard to look at this team and think that he's wrong. They were better last year, but, they were better last year because Ryan McDonough came back and you had Jake Gensel, better guy 5-on-5. And it was JJ Moser came in to help a guy like Victor Hedman. So it was three players, but I don't know if necessarily it was the structure. But yes, and I'm with you, Karen. Disappointed with the way the U.S. fans acted all week. Zero class. I mean, but that's what happens. That's what happens when you add alcohol into situations like this. You're encouraging people to, have energy and excitement and cheering and booing. Like, it's going to go over the line when you add alcohol there. But not surprised that the Europeans won. We'll see if the U.S. can get it back. And Rory said it a couple years ago. The hardest thing to do is to win on the road in the Ryder Cup, and that's exactly what they did. Manchester United embarrassed again, a 3-1 loss to Brentford on the road at the G-Tech. Liverpool lost to Crystal Palace as well, but listen, Liverpool's Liverpool. They're going to be able to bounce back. They have way too many good players. Crystal Palace, that's a tough place to win. Crystal Palace is tough. They got a bunch of guys like what they're able to do with Mateta up front. They're beasts. And then to be able to see a guy like Nketiah score that goal, a former Arsenal gunner, that had to feel good for him. But Liverpool will be fine. Man U, they're an absolute dumpster fire. The biggest dumpster fire in all of sports right now. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're talking about winning multiple games, winning 5 games in a row. And you just won one game against Chelsea where you're up 2-0 and then you got a red card and you almost blew it. You go to Brentford, you get dominated by the team where you took their best player from last year. I hate saying fire coaches, but it just doesn't seem to be working with Ruben Amorim. And there's a lot of good players on this team. And some people say, oh, they're not good enough or they don't do this and blah, 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 blah. There's enough good players on that team to compete. There's enough good players on that team to finish in the top half of the table at the very least. You have international players up and down the lineup. Something's got to give. And I understand you don't want to change managers every 6 months or what have you, but this is not working. This is not working. This 3 in the back thing, this changing all this stuff, this belief in Mason Mount. He wasn't good enough for Chelsea. He's not good enough for England. Why is he a factor for Manchester United? I have no idea why he's such an important piece. He hustles, but he doesn't score. He doesn't assist. It's just very strange to me. And you're playing your best player, Bruno Fernandes, out of position. You brought in 2 guys that are attacking midfielders, and he's not even playing in his natural spot, and you wonder why he is underperforming. You got to put your players in a position to succeed. That's not happening with Manchester United. And last, but certainly not least, another example of why the New York Mets will always be the little brother. And you heard all of this chatter before the season because Juan Soto couldn't stand the heat. So he went to the Mets and he got everybody to placate his every need and got all the suites and all the private travel and all the love and adoration for his families. And what? Yeah, you had a fantastic year. So did Lindor, so did Alonso, and you still missed the playoffs. Second highest payroll in all of baseball, and you don't even make the postseason. You don't even make the postseason. You lose to the Miami Marlins with the lowest payroll in all of baseball. Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. And when you heard everybody and their mother saying that, oh, the Mets aren't the little brother anymore, you'll always be the little brother. Because the Yankees weren't concerned about what the Mets did in the offseason, just like the Yankees weren't concerned with what the Red Sox did in the offseason. The Yankees are concerned with themselves and themselves only. It's winning a championship or bust. That's what it is. That's what it always has been. That's what always will be. Maybe not every team's like that, but it is like that with the New York Yankees. When you have won more world championships than anybody in professional sports in the top 4 leagues, that's your main goal every single year. The Yankees could lose all 13 games to the Red Sox. If they win the World Series, that is all that counts. They were 4-9 against Boston this year. They play them in the wild card. Do you think anybody's going to care that they had a losing record to the Red Sox if they end up winning the World Series? They don't care. They're not playing the same game. Your priorities are not the same. Your goal is to win the back page. The Yankees' goal is to win a World Series trophy. They're not the same. You guys will never be the same. You'll always be the little engine that could. You'll always be the little brother. You could win the next 20 World Series in a row, and you still won't be atop the mountain. Sorry, just not the way it goes. And then you're going to lose Pete Alonso? Yikes. You fumbled the bag. Players are getting worse. It's a bad atmosphere. The fans supported you, too. You set a new record for attendance, and you blew it. The players blew it. The team blew it. I just don't see how it gets any better because, again, Soto gets a little bit older. You saw some of his deficiencies in the outfield. He ran the bases okay this year, stole a bunch of bases, but in essence, you're going to be paying all that money for a guy that's going to be a DH. So good luck with that. Adam said, did Manu move on from Ten Hag too soon? No, he was another guy who wasn't the right fit. Another stubborn dude that just thought his way was the highway, and I get but you have to be adaptable, man. You cannot just be so set in your ways and think you have all the answers. You got to keep an open mind. You got to be thinking about a bunch of different things and how to put your players in a position to succeed. He wasn't able to do it. Not at all. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. A big thank you to our partners, Evra Health, and, of course, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC. You guys are the best. A big thank you to my guy, Ian Beckles, joining us on the program tomorrow. I'm actually going to Evra Health and checking them out, seeing what it is like all over there at the campus there. We'll have a bunch of guests on this week. I don't know yet. I got a bunch of irons in the fire, a bunch of lines in the water, and we'll get a bunch of people here on the show. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Cannot do this without you guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all the support. A big love and appreciation for Honest Hammer and Evra Health as well. All right, guys, it's going to wrap it up for me. Have a wonderful Monday, whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. And we'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on the Jay Recher Podcast.